I've always loved messing with stuff, just anything I could get my hands on to build.
I did a lot of the Legos kind of things, you know, building stuff.
I always had to fix my bikes, my skateboards.
Find a way to put it back together, make something, change something around, try to fix something, make it faster.
Then I got up to go-karts, started fixing up motors.
I took apart our piano.
I tried to take apart the TV once.
The piano's still in pieces in my room. My mom's wondering when I'm going to pick it up, but I don't know.
Lost all the channels, and my mom told me I had 5 minutes to get them all back before I get a whooping.
I love science and technology. That's my passion right there.
This is like my life. This is what I love to do.
All we have is the kit parts, and we use that and basically whatever else they tell us we can use, and we build a robot.
We have the 6 weeks. We all know what we have to get done. We just have to make sure that it gets done.
There weren't many instructions, but it didn't make me lose any confidence. If you just look at the pieces, you can figure out what can do what.
The builder team builds it, wires it and everything. Programmers, they write a program for it. To test it, we actually put it together and then drive it.
The original plan for our robot isn't the one we're using. We've had to restart it like 3 or 4 times.
Well, the first steps were getting a basic idea of what our base was going to look like and how it was going to drive, if it was going to be like 2-wheel drive system, 4-wheel drive system.
We're working on our trigonometry to try to decide which angle to shoot the gun and how far away we can be. We've been working with velocity formulas. I think they appreciate the math behind it, but I think really more of what I've taught them is leadership and not being afraid to suggest new ideas.
It can be very stressful on them. Often they are used to encountering a problem. If they can't do it, they walk away. And that's the great thing about FIRST, is we won't let them walk away. You have to overcome it. And everybody helps everybody.
A big reason that we're so successful is because there's so many minds collaborating and giving those ideas, and it's just we're, bouncing off each other, and then something comes out, it's like, it's gonna work.
The kids are always looking for something challenging and something different. You don't have to have any great talent to be in this program, but you do have to have the will to work at something.
Well, I was struck by the possibilities of FIRST Robotics. It looked to me like an inherently interesting project because you get to go build something and then take it for a competition, and those two things attract the students.
We're growing and we've got the basics down. We're really reaching for the higher goals, and I think FIRST is forcing us to do that, to go outside of our comfort zone.
Each year, we have to learn more, and we have to get better, and we have to imagine more. You don't know until you push yourself.
The biggest part of making change happen is giving opportunity, and maybe even giving an extra little push once in a while.
It doesn't really take a superstar in math and science. What it takes is a person who's diligent, and they can learn the skills needed. It's interesting. At first I had to recruit. Now I have a waiting list of students who would like to be on the team next year.
I think this is what we choose to devote our time to because it's probably the most enjoyable.
If they come, then they're hooked. Because once they get here, they're hooked.
This isn't a one-person job. You need a team that can support you, so you need to find a good core of teachers that wants to take interest in this. If you have that support, you can definitely do it, and it'll be so rewarding. You'll want to do it forever.
It's more work than you can imagine, but more fun than you can ever dream of. It is the most satisfying thing I have done in my academic career. When I was on the phone last year looking for mentors, it just took a matter of a few phone calls before I found one. I think this is incredible for Kansas City. We have an incredible amount of resources here that are untapped. Significant amounts of industry, technology, engineering. People are willing to help.
The FIRST Robotics people have actually done a lot of work to package this very nicely for the high schoolers. So right now it's just a lot of reading and learning to see what they've already done.
A robot is supposed to track the target and then aim to it and shoot the balls into the circle. So you need to write the program for it.
The students are very sharp and they understand things very quickly. They learn fast. And so most of it's just helping them set a goal for each night so that we can eventually get to the end goal.
A big turning point was when we first were able to drive our robot. Another one is when we actually figured out how we're going to shoot balls, because that was like something we couldn't figure out for a long time.
We've been told that if our robot isn't done when it's time to ship the crate, to just throw everything in the crate, and when we get there, there'll be someone there, another team, they'll get our robot working.
Oh wait, we got everything back together on our robot. So now we're going to do another practice round, see how she does. We've been working on it all day.
I thought it'd be kind of like this, but not as intense as it is. It's just like a rock concert, just having fun.
At school, we were able to spend time. If we mess something up here, you got a couple of minutes and you got to do it as best you can and while you can.
Every time something would break, we just had to fix it, which was frequently.
What's your strategy? Stay on defense and get in many balls as we can.
And then at the end, try and get on the ramp because we trust the speed of this.
We voted on the theme FBI because it stands for First Spots of Independence. We had someone come up with a seal that goes kind of like with the FBI theme, and the safety glasses are pretty cool.
We actually got our idea from people on the tennis team because there are 3 different ways to pick up tennis balls, and one of them was like a mower, and it just picks up the balls. And so we talked to the guy who had invented this machine, and he told us pretty much the basics of how to build it.
I've been just biting my nails and freaking out and screaming.
57, Red Alliance 47, Blue Alliance 39. Congratulations,
Yes!
46 to 20, baby! 46 to 20! Woo! 46 to 20, I'm happy. If it's 1 point over, I'm good. The other team did amazing still. It just feels good to win sometimes. Rookie team winning, it feels amazing.
How's it going?
Sad. It's a really sad moment. It really is because we didn't improve as much, but still we made some scores. But robots still it's not as good as the job as we wanted it to do.
I think that's the real world experience. I mean, that is what happens in real business. And when you're doing real science, you have your breakthroughs, you have your setbacks. I think it's great that they're getting that experience and learning to deal with it now.
I've been teaching chemistry for years, and I haven't seen them this excited about anything with technology for a long time. It's turning these kids really on to all the details that make this work.
I think the biggest thing we learned was how to have fun, because it's hard to learn when you're not enjoying yourself.
We've had so much help. So many teams have helped us out. This team over here saved us last night. Every team along here has done something for us. We've tried to give back as much as we can, you know. We've given out a lot of our parts because we had a lot of spare parts.
Why is that important, you guys helping each other like that?
Why is it important? It's not about the competition. It's about the people. It's about helping each other. That's the real world. The real world isn't about competition. It's about helping people. Remember that.
We all bring our own skills in. We all come from different backgrounds. There's a part of everybody in it. Everybody contributed to it, so it's just like putting my work out there. It's just putting something up there that's saying, look, I drew it up and I built it.
It's such a real application for them of all this stuff that they've been learning. They finally get to apply it.
It's given me some insight as to some of the things that I might be doing later in my life.
I think all of them will have a better appreciation for science and technology and a greater respect for the people who keep the technology in this country going.
One of the great things that has come out of this program, we are now putting in a pre-engineering academy here. This is good for our kids. That science and technology is where the future is.
We've gone to middle schools to show off a robot, to show the little kids, hey, when you get older, this might be something that you're interested in. They're like, wow, that's cool. And it's so cute to see those little kids. They're like, how did you do that? And they want to know because they're trying to learn. And for them to get excited about it as little kids, as they get older, they believe, hey, I can do this. I can get a good career in this. I can do it.
There are way too many kids going around saying, I want to go into the NBA or I want to go into NFL. You don't hear that many kids going around saying, oh, I want to be an engineer. That's just not something that most kids think about doing.
I know we have this superstar mentality that we just can't seem to get away from. But if we can also create this atmosphere of Me Too and that education or that, being smart or that working hard to solve problems is something for everybody. That, to me, is the goal. We can't just make superstars out of these really smart people. We have to make everybody think that that's important and interesting and worthwhile thing to do.
Once you get out in the real world, it's going to be like you got time constraints and you have to meet deadlines, and this is kind of helping us, give us experience on what that's all about.
You talk about this robot and how they're trying to track colors and shoot balls at targets and stuff like that. That's a pretty complex problem. I mean, that's not something that you would tell somebody and you say, well, by the way, there's a high school that's doing this.
I think it's going to help me get a good job, have a good education to where I can support myself and I don't have to depend on other people, and I can help support my family when I have one. And I think it's going to help me be a better person in a way that I know I can do more. I set higher goals for myself and I can achieve them better because I know I can do it.